Hello friends. Today we'll be talking about the Champion Saga, which is This Paper World and This Burning World by Jeff Lane. So before we get started, if you haven't seen one of my reviews before, I try to keep these as spoiler free as possible. So I'll try and avoid any major spoilers. I like to go into books blind, so I'll try and give you enough to have an idea without spoiling anything. One of the first books I reviewed for BookTube is One Way by Jeff Lane. After reading that book and after getting to know Jeff and hearing a little bit about the Champion Saga, I wanted to dive into it. And knowing Jeff and his personality, I figured the brutality and the violence in One Way was an aberration. I thought the Champion Saga sounds like a lighthearted superhero kind of romp. And don't get me wrong, there's a place and time for lighthearted superhero romps. There's nothing wrong with them. We all enjoy different types of stories. And Jeff Lane is one of the nicest and kindest people you'll ever meet, but don't let his cool and calm demeanor fool you.
So first of all, who hurt you guys? Who hurt you?
The brutality in One Way is not exclusive to that book. The Champion Saga can be pretty brutal. The first book in the Champion Saga is This Paper World. And if you had any doubts that this book would be brutal and violent and surprising, you knew right off the bat that you were in for a ride within the first chapter or two. In this book, we meet Jim Hunt, who is a college student who's having strange dreams. We come to find out that there's spoilers, who are bad guys, and there's champions, who are good guys. Now, like I said, I won't give too much away, but in this book, there's some action-packed scenes, there's some car chases, and some very unexpected deaths. I listened to the audiobook for both of these books. I listened to the audiobook and read the paperback versions, and there was a few scenes that I had to stop what I was doing and rewind to make sure that I knew that I heard what was happening right, because there's some major characters that you expect to see throughout the story that meet their end pretty quick. So you know right away anything can happen. This Paper World is a lot of setting the table. You meet the characters, you get to know the world, and by the end you think you have things pretty much figured out. You think you have a pretty good idea of what's going on in this book, what's going on in this series. You feel pretty comfortable. But in This Burning World, which is the second book, which picks up right where This Paper World leaves off, you slowly come to find out and question what you thought was, who you thought were good guys, who you thought were bad guys, and what you thought was right or wrong. And This Burning World, there's more unexpected deaths. There's some more twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, and the lines aren't so clear anymore. And because of some of these unexpected deaths, it sends one of our characters on a quest for vengeance. In This Burning World, the character's abilities and skills and mythology and the history, you start to learn more about all of that in the second book. And what you thought you knew about the series suddenly you begin to question whether you really know what's happening or not. The world begins to blossom, and it becomes much more intriguing in the second book. This series reminds me of a coming-of-age story, kind of a chosen one trope, with The Matrix and The Dark Tower smashed together. There's a lot of twists and turns, and Jeff Lane has a knack for writing page-turners. His books are hard to put down, and he actually narrated both books on Apple Podcasts. So they are free to listen on Apple Podcasts. They're broken up by chapter, so you can go and listen to him narrate both books on Apple Podcasts for free. Of course, if you enjoy the books, pick up an ebook or a paperback to help support him and his work. But it's a fun time with the audiobooks. I'm not a big audiobook fan. I'm not knocking them. They just aren't for me. They don't keep my attention. But knowing Jeff and hearing him narrate both books was a lot of fun. I got a big kick out of it. And he nails some really great accents. He does a really great job. And I can't help but respect someone who takes it upon themselves to narrate their own book and put it up on Apple Podcasts for free to help get the word out. You can't help but admire that. Now, I will say that the second book ends on a big cliffhanger. And I'm glad I read these later after publication, because it would be driving me crazy not knowing what happened. So I know I read some reviews of some readers who are waiting for that third book. I know Jeff's been working on it. I'm actually helped beta read the third book. And let me tell you, I just started it, and it is by far the best book in the series. My wife and I are both beta reading it, and picking up little mistakes here and there that we can catch, just to help Jeff out with getting the book ready to go. But for those of you who are looking for a series that is going to wrap up soon, it's a good time to jump on, at least have this on your radar, so when the third book does get released, you'll be ready for it. I'm going to give the Champion Saga 4 refrigerators where they keep the bodies out of 5. Jeff has a way of writing these funny, lighthearted kind of books, but still being serious, action-packed, a little bit of violence, and taking itself seriously, but not too seriously to where it gets kind of pretentious. There's a ton of twists and turns that will keep you guessing, character deaths you do not see coming, and it's just a fun time. And I can definitely see now where the gunslinger from the Dark Tower series had a lot of influence on Jeff and his writing, because there was a lot of references that I didn't catch before I started reading the Dark Tower that I catch now. So I do see where the gunslinger is a huge influence on him and Stephen King in general, just on his writing and his storytelling. I will leave all the links down below where you can find Jeff, find his books, or find the podcast. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you found this review helpful, and I will talk to you soon.